What is your craziest experience tattooing private parts?
Oh wow, that just happened.
Mighty Mouse on the cock. Next.
I haven't tattooed a whole lot of private parts. It usually doesn't smell the same as like an arm or something.
Oh yeah, I think everybody should handle a nutsack or two in their day. So speaking of nutsacks, I tattooed the word honey roasted across the guy's nutsack. That was awesome.
A chick wanted a POW flag on her vagina. Awkward, right? I didn't want to ask why.
I had a really hairy dude friend that wanted eyeballs behind his pubes.
Oh, can I tell this story? Early on in my career.
Once I was tattooing a girl's vagina, like the top of her vagina, and it's not weird. The weird thing is that her husband was right beside her, just like straight looking at me like.
I did accidentally jab my finger on a girl's vagina once, where I was like rubbing, I was like on her thigh hair, and I wasn't kind of like paying attention. I looked away for a second, and I just like full on like sucker punched her with my finger in the vagina.
Well, my piercer, speaking of nutsacks, he got religious tattooed across his nutsack because he wanted to be sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious.
I would love to tattoo a butthole, so holla at your boy.
I wanted to do a dick tattoo though. I wanted the nuts to look like a net full of fish and then tattoo the dick like a log and then a pelican up the stomach. So when the guy got hard, it looked like it was sitting on the tree waiting for the fish to rise and trying to get his meal.
Damn.
Yeah, I thought that'd be fucking hilarious.
You're thinking way
Yeah.
too hard about
I wanted to do a whole set of drawings of cool images that you didn't realize were dicks. We can make it happen.
So a situation came up a couple weeks ago where I had to say yes, and the to-be wife was in the room with her kid, and the to-be husband was in there, and he wanted her name on him. Shaft?
Yeah.
On the, you pull it up, turn it to the side, and it's on the shaft.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to show anything, so he held it, and I'm like, are you sure you're gonna be able to hang on to this? And so he held it, and I put paper around it, and there was like a hole, and he held it, and he just kept on turtling in and turtling in. So by the end, I had to actually stretch it and do it, but what's really funny about this, and I'm really sorry to the person if you see this, but she didn't get his name on her.
I didn't tattoo a private part, but I did get a girl off tattooing her on accident. She started shaking, get a little odd, and I was like, are you okay? And her friend was there, and she was just like, oh, no, you didn't. And I was like, what did you? And like, you know, the heavy breathing, and I was just like, oh my God.
One of my earliest tattoos, I had to tattoo holly berries on their pubes. And if he sees this, he'll laugh because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's like, can you make it smaller so my junk looks bigger?
Back in the day, in the early 2000s and stuff, tattooing a vagina was really popular, like making it into things and stuff like that. But I was tattooing this girl's once, and I had her boyfriend over my shoulder the whole time, like, oh, you like that? Oh, you want that? And I'm like, no.
My first street shop that I ever worked at, ever. I was super new, got hazed a whole bunch. They obviously didn't want me to work there. So this kid comes in, and he wants this tattoo. Nobody at my shop wants to do it. They all tell me I have to do it because I'm new, and if I turn him down, then I can pack my shit and leave. So it's one of those authorized personnel, like no trespassing signs. So he wants it right above his dick, like this big, all red ink. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll do it like on your hip, like on your pelvis, but every inch that we get closer to your genitals, like it's gonna go up $200. So we finally like settle on like right above his privates. I go make the stencil. I'm about to stencil him. He pulls his pants down. Dude has a full puby puppy, like a full fucking bush. And I'm like, well, I'm not shaving that. So I give him a couple of our like dollar razors, and I'm like, you can go in the bathroom and clean up for me, but make sure you don't leave hair all over the floor. You're gonna have to clean that up too. He comes back out, and he's just cut everywhere. I guess he's never shaved his pubes before. So needless to say, we still did the tattoo, but it kind of ended up on his hip because he just butchered himself.
Early on, soon out of my apprenticeship, so year one tattooing, I was doing this small butterfly above a girl's fuzzy parts. And she didn't realize she was doing it, but as I was tattooing her, she reached up and grabbed my head and slowly just like started moving it. And I had to be like, excuse me. And she realized then what she was doing, and she's like, I'm sorry, I just can't help it. And I'm like, well, try.
I had a lady of an older age
much older age than me with no tattoos, booked an appointment with me, and she come in for some lettering, and I go out to greet her and I say, hey, you know, I'm Mies, nice to meet you. Well, what did you want to get? And she said, well, I want to get Savage on my pussy. I mean, she looked like she would be at soccer practice with her grandkids. She called the shop like for weeks after that, asking for me, asking for my number, she just hit me up on the internet. Like, yeah, she was savage.
I was working a booth with James Vaughn, and he was tattooing a client's gooch. And this dude, he's tattooed head to toe, and I knew the client real well too. The guy's like, hey man, I gotta pee real quick. So the guy goes to the bathroom. It was a chunk time more than it should have been to pee. Dude comes back, flails his legs back up over his head to get, you know, grundled up tattooed. There was just a chunk of dirty toilet paper still stuck in there, and James just had to reach in and just pull the toilet paper out and throw it.
Hell nah.
So back in the day, Nick Swardson, big comedian, awesome times, released this fucking CD. This is how cool we were. In the tattoo shop, we would listen to comedy CDs. And, cause now we do it on YouTube. We were listening to fucking Nick Swardson's Party, right? So this is when I was partying heavily in my life, and you know, I was like, yeah, party. So I was a single dad and we would party at the house. So I was like, well, why don't we just start getting hammered and doing party tattoos on each other's private parts. Like I wanted mine on my balls, but my brother was like, no, I don't want to do that. Years later, he was like, I wish I would have done it on your balls. And I'm like, yeah, I do too. So now, I think I stopped count at like 36 or 38 people that got drunkenly party. And I'm talking about, this is bad, guys, please. This is so bad. Like, we would get drunk enough to the point where you didn't matter if you had gloves on. That was like one of the prerequisites. One of my friends, I tattooed Party on her, and I did it backwards and huge. She has the biggest one. And I started in the middle with all of them, and then did a backwards R, a lowercase r, a backwards P at the beginning, like an upside down A, like, dude, whew. Oh, one of the dudes, his wife decided that she wasn't gonna blow him anymore because he got this party tattoo, so he got it lasered.
One time I absolutely tattooed a scrotum. I didn't do a tattoo of a scrotum, I did a tattoo on a scrotum, and he wanted like a lipstick kiss mark on his scrotum, which right out the gate makes me feel like he's not having a lot of experience there anyways. He had to be in a really high chair and like spread eagle right in front of me, and I put on as much protective gear as possible because I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but I feel like when you're 4 inches from a scrotum, you've got to expect the unexpected. I had to like stretch in one direction with this hand and then smush, and then I had to use this hand and I had to smush, and then
Every
like
dude's balls are just going up into their body right now.
I could only move my fingers because this was a smushing hand, and that is a moment where you really start to evaluate the choices that you have made in your life.
Gentleman comes in and he says he wants to get, you know, a genital tattoo. He just wants to get like 2 dots and a line, a smiley face on the head of his penis. He knows, like, I really, really want this. And I said, okay. I'm like, well, starting it's $500. And then it goes up there by size details, something like that, $5. He goes, $500. I'm like, oh, is that just for the boys? Or he's like, oh, is that for girls too? I'm like, oh, that's across the board. He's like, that's the minimum. I start there. And he says like, okay, well, everyone said no to me, so I'll do it. Shows up day of. Now this is where it gets bad. And so I go back there, and so I put on the 2 dots, smiley face, show it to him, and I said, how's that look? And he goes, it looks great. And I said, okay, cool. All I need you to do is take the rest of your pants down to your knees, you know, sit on this chair, and then I'm basically gonna drape your penis over this armrest.
Yeah.
I go, I'll be right back. So I went to go wash my hands. Go literally out of the room. I used to have this little booth in the back, and I go out this room, turn around, come back, and he has jerked himself off into full, and I just was like, and I walk in, I'm like, what the fuck?
Why do you have to be
And he says like,
hard?
I have to be hard, right? And I was like, no, I didn't. Did I say that? Did I say freaking jerk yourself off, get yourself hard? And he's just like,
You need a
he's like,
fluffer.
well, I didn't. I just went, no, it's cool. I put on my gloves. I smashed down his dick on the armrest. Beep, beep, beep. There you go, man. Check it out.